Welcome to Dr. Mary Travel Best's 5 Steps to Solo Travel Guide for women like you who need a little extra support traveling the world one woman at a time. If you could, please share this podcast with people you love. I appreciate your feedback with a review. I have returned from a 90-day trip around the globe to every time zone. My mission is world peace through cultural exchange. In this episode, the FAQ is, how can I stay hydrated when it's humid and hot? And today's destination is Siem Reap, Cambodia. Today's mistake is taking the long way instead of a more direct flight. And travel advice is practice Google Maps on foot. So, FAQ, how can I stay hydrated? From my personal experience, I needed help with this in Southeast Asia. The climate was so different from Southern California, where I live. I had to adjust my body to these climate conditions. I had to be very aware of my intake of liquids and not drink much, if any, caffeine. I'm not a medical doctor, but here's what I learned. Rest during the day. Swim if you can. Keep your body cool and do it early in the morning if you must go out. I had to respect my kidneys as they filtered all of this water. And I had to monitor the color of my urine to try to keep it clear. And now for today's destination. Siem Reap, Cambodia. Siem Reap is a resort town in northwestern Cambodia. It's the gateway to the ruins of Angkor, the seat of the Khmer Kingdom from the 19th through the 15th centuries. Angkor's vast complex of intricate stone buildings includes preserved Angkor Wat, the main temple pictured on Cambodia's flag. Now, you would see giant, mysterious faces that are carved into the Bayon Temple at Angkor Thom. The capital is Phnom Penh. You can listen for the episode on that city here. I arrived by bus and immediately rode to the Backpackers Chill Hostel. My tuk-tuk driver was named Nuck, and he was reliable. He brought me to all of the places I needed to see. Ask for him, Nuck, if you go there, because he could use the business. What are some of the things that I did? Well, the first thing I did was go to the temple, Angkor Wat. I went at sunrise, meaning I had to get the ticket first thing in the morning. So Nuck knew where to get the ticket and how to navigate the complicated process, making it very easy. After that, we drove to the temples, which will take a full day. Now, it's so hot, you really should go early. It was raining, but still very humid, so bring an umbrella for the sun and limit your outdoor activities except for swimming. Now, in some ways, Angkor Wat reminded me of Disney, but this was real. It was from 1,000 years ago. The temple is huge, but not crowded like Disneyland at all. I had breakfast nearby. It was fried rice with tea. It was about $6. And I brought my bottled water and filled up my water bottle whenever I could. Now, one of the meals known and is popular is called lak lak. It's a very tasty meat dish, but I didn't feel good the next day. Something in the lak lak didn't agree with me. Now, one of the things you should see is the Fare Circus. I got there early and relaxed. You can eat here before the show and meet the performers like I did. I met people from all over the world, including France, Switzerland, and Vietnam. The lesson that they teach in this circus is about influence, and it was about being helpful to others. That was a memory that I took away. It was a dance and a cultural show with 8 highly talented physical performers. Think Cirque du Soleil, but in a stage about 1/10 of the size, so it felt quite intimate. The show notes have a link to that. So while I was in Siem Reap, I had a 1-hour massage. It was about $6. and it was so worth it. Now, it's a small city, and you can easily explore it in 3 days, but be sure you visit the main temples of Angkor Archaeological Park as well as Nam Kulin National Park and Kampong Floating Village. One of the gems I found was I went to Sunday Mass in church, and we all took off our shoes. It was St. Thomas Catholic Church, and everyone sat on the floor. We had communion. It poured rain during the Mass, but nobody seemed to mind. I slept in a mixed dorm with 12 beds and had the top bunk. There was some snoring. The price was $3 a night. A couple of nights later, I moved to my own room for $14 a night. No tax or tips were needed. It was a slow time for tourism in May. The busy season is between January and March, and it's hot then too. Now, here are 10 traditional dishes you could eat in Cambodia. There's coconut fish curry, noodle soup, Khmer noodles, sour soup, Kampot pepper crab, beef salad, beef ceviche, and chicken curry. And now for today's mistake: taking the long way instead of a more direct flight. I was in the San Francisco airport and saw on the flight board a direct flight to Manila. Why was I going to China first if it was just for a stopover? I could have saved hours by taking that flight instead of the flight to Hong Kong and then Manila. I could have compared the prices before I booked, so be sure you check to see if there is a more direct flight before you book. It may take you an extra 10 minutes, but it may save you hours of travel. Now for today's travel advice. Practice Google Maps on foot before you leave on your trip. So I've been using Google Maps, but I need to do more walking around. Instead of waiting until you go to your destination, try finding a place near home that you haven't been to and do it on foot. Pick a location you don't know and see how you do. Practice this on foot, which is different than in a car, which I've always done. And now I want to bring meaning to your travel. So if you send me a question or a travel tip, I'd really appreciate it. You can also sign up for the mailing list. There's links below. The show notes have lots of details. And if you could support the podcast with a review,